Imagine you walk into your kitchen and the entire floor is covered in water. What's the first thing you do? Probably grab a towel, then another, maybe a mop. You're moving as fast as you can, trying to stop the mess, of course. But no matter how much water you remove, the floor keeps getting wetter. Then someone quietly walks in, looks around, reaches over, and turns off the faucet. The water stops. Not because they cleaned harder, because they solved a completely different problem. And once I started noticing this, I couldn't stop seeing it everywhere. The more I pay attention, the more I think this may be one of the biggest blind spots in modern life. We've become incredibly good at treating symptoms, but surprisingly bad at understanding systems. It feels productive. You're busy. You're solving problems. You're checking things off your list. Yet, somehow, the same problems keep coming back because the visible crisis is often just where the real problem finally became impossible to ignore. Look at traffic. Almost every growing city eventually reaches the same conclusion. Too much congestion. So, they widen the highway. For a little while, everything improves. Then, the traffic returns. Sometimes it's even worse. Why? Because the highway didn't simply carry traffic. It changed behavior. More people drove. New neighborhoods appeared. Businesses followed. Entire communities grew around the new capacity. The solution? Reshape the system. And the new system created a new problem. And that's the first catch. Solutions change behavior. You see the exact same pattern inside organizations. Sales begin slowing. Leadership reacts, right? Longer hours, maybe, more meetings, maybe, more pressure, definitely. For a short time, productivity rises, then people burn out. Your best employee leave. Experience disappears. Hiring becomes harder. Morale fails. The original problem returns. Except now, it's wearing a different face, maybe? Because pressure changes incentives. People stop optimizing for great work. They start optimizing for survival. And once incentives change, the entire system changes with them. Now, think about medicine. Antibiotics have saved hundreds of millions of lives. One of humanity's greatest achievements, correct? But because they worked so well, we began using them for almost everything. Over time, bacteria adapted. Drug-resistant infections emerged. The medicine wasn't broken. Its success created its own second-order effect, which we've spoken about, second-order effects. And that's the catch. Every powerful solution changes the environment around it. And sometimes that new environment creates the next challenge. Technology might be the clearest example of all. We wanted instant communication. Now, many of us struggle to escape it. We wanted unlimited information. Now, attention has become one of the world's most valuable resources. We wanted to remove friction from, everyday life. But friction was quietly forcing us to think, to wait, to reflect, to be patient. Sometimes removing one difficulty also removes something very valuable. That difficulty was creating, and that's where this becomes fascinating. Most systems, they don't slowly drift apart because nobody cares. They drift apart because everyone is focused on the fire directly in front of them, of course. Imagine a doctor who treats a fever without asking what caused the fever. The temperature drops. Everyone celebrates. Meanwhile, the disease keeps spreading. The symptom was never the illness, which completely changes the questions we should ask. Instead of asking, how do we fix this? Maybe we should ask, what created this? Instead of asking, what's broken? Ask maybe, what changed? Instead of asking, what tool do we need? Ask, what incentive made this outcome almost inevitable? Because incentives shape behavior, period. Behavior shapes systems, and systems shape almost everything else. Here's the catch. The deeper cause is almost always harder to see than the symptom. You can see the flooded kitchen floor, of course. You can't see the leaking pipe inside the wall. You can see housing prices. You can't immediately see the decades of policies, demographics, and incentives that slowly produce them. You can see people arguing online. You can't always see the algorithms rewarding outrage every single second. So maybe that's why the world often feels so confusing, because every generation inherits problems that were often created by the solutions of the generation before it. Which means tomorrow's biggest problems may already exist inside today's greatest successes. And maybe that's the catch. The world isn't becoming more complicated. We're simply becoming better at noticing symptoms than understanding the symptoms beneath them. And until we learn to look upstream instead of reacting downstream, we'll continue celebrating solutions that quietly manufacture tomorrow's problems. Yeah. Because sometimes